Let's go ahead and walk through them together, and then we'll try applying them over a tune. So our first one, F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Go ahead and play that. Cool, I'm just checking my signal. All right, so yeah, now that's the first one. Now before we just cruise through them all real quick, I want to point out that that is what you would use over a half diminished chord, right? Minor 7 flat 5. That's the 7 chord in the major key, right? So if we were in the key of G and you're playing like G major, you could go down a half step and play the Locrian version. So you could go then between G major, thinking about, G major and F sharp. G major and F sharp Locrian are the same, right? They're just different modes of the same key. But when you think about your patterns, you could play through them like G major, right? So I'm noodling around in G major, and then I'm gonna slip down into that F sharp Locrian pentatonic, and I'll just go back up. That's kind of something you can mess around with. The important part is seeing where it comes from, though, right? So it's the 7 chord. It's the minor 7 flat 5. Let's take a look at the next mode. So we got 5 7 8, and then 7 4 7 4 5. That's 4 5 on the G string. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, and the last two strings are 5 7. Oops. So now let's think about this in our key too. This is basically starting from the 2 chord, right? Like if we were in the key of G, the 2 chord would be A minor. That's where you'd be playing like your Dorian, usually, right? You'd be playing. Around that. And what we usually think, of course, is just our pentatonic scale. And all your blues stuff. But what you can do, if you're playing over a 2 chord, is you can play the second mode of our Locrian pentatonic. Well, we'll check out all of its applications, but basically it works like this. If you're in the key of G, right, you can play G major, you can play A Dorian, you can play B Phrygian, you can play C Lydian, you can play D Mixolydian, you can play E Aeolian, or you can play F sharp Locrian, and then you start over again. And that's all G major. All of that is G major. It's just like what's your reference point, or we learn them as guitar players like shapes, you know. Conceptually, they're not a shape exactly. They can be played on any instrument or sung or whatever. But we recognize them as shapes, and it's actually kind of a handy way, like it's a concrete way to make this abstract thing about playing music into like physical, tangible, like recognizable. Oh, it makes it easier to concretize in your mind. But anyway, when you got your G in the key of G, for example, you could play F sharp, Locrian, that we already know, or you could play A Dorian. Well, these pentatonics, if you can play F sharp, Locrian pentatonic, it's just the minor pentatonic flatting the fifth, then you can do all the modes of it too, which means you can do it in context of any chord in that key, right? Like if somebody played a B minor, my tone's kind of dirty right now for this kind of thing. It sounds actually a lot cleaner in the room. But anyway, so when you're playing over B minor, you could play that second mode of the Locrian pentatonic, starting from this major, the seventh. Oh wait, I'm doing a different mode. This is one of them, but it's going to be definitely Phrygian because you can hear the flat 9. That's like real striking. That's like, it's like very clear what mode you're playing. So anyways, that second mode you can look at it as an A minor. Imagine you had an A minor chord. You can play the second mode of the Locrian pentatonic. That's the easiest thing. That's the easy way to remember that. Now, let's see the next one. Let's do the third mode. Oh, my bad. Yeah, this one I find really helpful. All right. Since this is a Locrian pentatonic of F sharp, we want to know which one of these is the root, just kind of for reference. It's that one, the A string 9th fret. That's the F sharp. So if you were playing an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, that'd be your root. You could start from that. And I'm just noodling around with that pentatonic, or that Locrian pen. Yeah, you could look at it like it's around a B minor. Yeah, this is the third mode of the F sharp Locrian pentatonic. Cool. Go ahead and play through that one time, just up. Cool. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So think about that. That's a minor. You could do that on a minor chord if it's a 3 chord. Otherwise, it might sound, well, it's going to sound Phrygian is what it's going to sound like. So if it's a 2 chord and you got that flat 9, it might be pretty harsh. So rather than thinking about that one as over a B chord, you could if it's a 3 chord, but it's maybe safer just to think about using this as an extension from the second mode. Like if we play the second mode over an A minor, you'll hear a lot more 2 chords probably, or Dorian mode you're used to playing. So if you played this mode, yeah, that too. Just noodling around with these will help you make connections like that. So let's take a look at the next mode. This one's kind of one of the weirdest ones. Yeah, it's cool. Oh, good.